Pre-game, right? Pre-game.
Welcome to the pre-game show at Friday Night Fish Talk. Yes, we are back. 2-week break. Feels good.
Yes, finally refreshed. Got a little fishing in while we were taking breaks.
Yeah, I got a lot of fishing in.
It's kind of nice.
Got a lot of fishing in, a lot of airboat tours,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of redesigning the downstairs again.
Yeah, again.
Again.
That's all right. That looks better.
So this is just the pre-game show. This is just where we're introducing or welcoming everyone coming into the show. So go ahead and tell us hello, and hopefully Sean or somebody puts it up on the screen. We can say hello as well.
Hopefully we're on the right page.
Yep. We'll get started with the actual show here soon. Sean. I did not miss having him in my ear for 2 weeks.
No.
Except his jokes, though. They're pretty good. It's hard to contain ourselves. Hey, David, how you doing?
It's almost best y'all don't hear him.
It's Friday Night Fish Talk. Mary, good evening to you as well.
We did.
What else we got here? Ty, welcome to the show, my friend.
Appreciate y'all joining in.
Cheers. Hey, Riley.
What's happening, Riley?
The beautiful princess herself. That's from YouTube. Carol. Where are you is the question.
Seriously.
Where?
He's got wings now.
Hey, are we keeping track of the selfies? Of the Red Bull selfies?
Oh, I have not taken one.
So I think, is that where it stemmed from? Can you ask Brianna, Sean? I'm pretty sure that's where the whole Red Bull selfie thing stemmed from, is to see how many Red Bulls we're drinking a day.
A lot.
A lot.
Well, at least Gary.
By 11 a.m. I had 5, so, and then I lost count. Lost count.
I mean, I had 5 beers, but no Red Bull.
Alrighty, so again, this is just the pregame show. We're getting warmed up for the actual show starting soon. David, we already said hello, but hello again.
Appreciate
the
you
live
tuning in.
audience, our friends from Savannah? Savannah, Georgia. They are big-time Gator fans. Huge Gator fans. I mean, absolute, like...
You got to see the color of their shirts. I mean, it is blue and orange all the way.
I tell you. Bleeding the blue and orange. Can't stand any of those Tennessee teams or stuff. But.
Happens.
All right, Sean, are we ready to get into the actual show? Because I'm ready. Billy, you ready?
Think so.
Louie, are you ready over there?
I'm ready.
Louie's ready. Bentley's ready. Everybody's ready.
Beyond the woods, down the twists and the turns, through the marsh, lies the knowledge needed to fish the nature coast.
Dude, it came all the way out of the water.
This is Friday Night Fish Talk.
Welcome to
Friday Night Fish Talk.
presented by
The one and only
Phillips Auto Group. The best dang auto group out there, in my opinion.
100%.
Man, I tell you what, they've got a festival coming up too. It's a Toy for Tots drive.
News to me. I
So
enjoy
we are
it.
going to be talking about that next week. It is so
Awesome.
much fun. And I tell you what, the amount of toys, Billy, that they load up in the back of their trucks there,
That's awesome.
it's,
One of the best causes.
I mean, it's, they just don't have best customer service. They don't have the best, deals and inventory. They have the best hearts, in my opinion.
Can't argue with that.
But we also have a lot of dealerships in the area that have great hearts, supporting. Everyone supports our community when it needs to come together.
That is a fact.
So one of the things that we're going to start tonight to show off is a tournament that OKM Cares, our nonprofit organization, along with so many people from our community.
The rest of the county.
Yeah, and friends and family of someone that just lost their life 2 days ago. He was a detective right here in Citrus County, Jimmy West. We threw together a benefit to help support his immediate family, his wife and 2 kids. So he's had our back, our county, our community's back. So we have his now. So
time to turn around and take care of their family.
yeah, we were talking about several tournaments tonight. This is the one that just popped up. So this is a just to be very upfront with everyone, no cash prize tournament.
Yes, that's what I've understood.
But thanks to our community, thanks to the fishing network, thanks to all the fishing industry. I mean,
yeah, from what I've understood, there's a massive amount of people that are involved with it on getting actual prizes, and it should be a pretty epic trip.
in a day and a half, Billy, I'm not joking you. So we have a meeting Sunday to start tallying this up and trying to figure out the exact value of
How this is
prizes.
gonna
And
work.
yeah, there's close to $50,000
Oh, I believe
already
it.
raised.
Between the battery companies, I mean, it's going to be awesome.
yeah.
The
it'll be great.
cause is stunning.
So there's no cash prizes for this tournament, but guys, this is a benefit for, like I said, someone that's had our back. It's our turn to have his and his family's back. So it's a benefit for that. $125 entry, up to 4 anglers per boat. It's a donation, but you still have a chance at winning some great prizes.
Absolutely.
I mean, our
Some worth more than cash.
our friends from the city of Orlando are involved. I mean, we could stay here for 10 hours trying to name all the businesses. That's why we had to have
still
a
miss
meeting this Sunday, is to try to figure it out exactly who's all donated. But
That's just way too cool.
it's amazing. So I said in the Facebook post, there's 2 things that Citrus County does great. Fishing tournaments and coming together as a community.
Yep.
So
Citrus County is awesome for the community side of it.
So if you go to Ozello Keys Marina and tap on the Fish for Blue tab, it's real simple to register. The rules are not that complicated. Heaviest redfish. The CCA is involved on this one, Billy. So you, if you're gonna bring that redfish home and eat it for dinner, God
So be
bless you.
it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
enjoy it.
I love myself some blackened redfish. But if you plan on putting it in the freezer or you're not sure what to do with it,
Yeah, just not going to eat it that night.
bring it alive and you're going to get a gift from one of the sponsors of this tournament, guaranteed gift.
Gotta love that.
And then the CCA takes over after the weigh-in, puts it in their great tank system, and then releases it for another day to breed and do everything else it needs to do. So
It's awesome.
that's what I said. The support from this tournament in a day and a half is absolutely insane. So I'm excied to see what happens.
In the next week.
Yeah, absolutely. But we've got some also, we also have some great tournaments as well. Let's talk about, we're going to save, let's talk about the kayak tournament first. Let's
Ho, ho, ho.
Let's do
Fishing for
let's do
dough.
the kayak tournament. So we're going to start with this one here. So this one is December 10th. This is the 3rd annual Ho 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 Fishing for Dough. 100% net proceeds from this tournament goes directly to supporting children that is simply,
Families that can't afford gifts and
they might have
Makes
had a
for a
hard
happier-
time or whatever it may be. We
Makes for
work
a
with
happy
some
holiday.
great nonprofits for this event, and we've already got a huge list. So guys, we do need support from this. We have some awesome sponsors. But any other support we can gain, the better, because the list is growing by the day. So
absolutely.
that one's December 10th, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a festival on that one, too. We've got some cool stuff going on.
Got a live band and a little bit of everything going on.
The Bob and the Hope Band.
Yep.
Now, sooner than those other 2 tournaments, and it's actually going to be part of the giveaway tonight and next week, is the talk of the county, talk of the Tri-County area here.
Who's going to try to be king?
Of the Bay. So the King of the Bay at Pete's Pier. This is an excellent ran tournament.
It's their 3rd annual also, and we're looking forward to being there.
Billy, we're going to kick some ass, aren't we? Louie, you fishing it? All right, Billy, let's quit.
Heard Vinny's
Wait,
fishing
is
with
Vinny
him.
fishing it?
Yeah, I heard Vinny's fishing with him.
Oh, yeah. All right, never mind. Go play golf or something. This is a great tournament, guys. Lots of sponsors there. Check them out. And then also check out that check, $10,000 first place. And they added grouper this year. So are you fishing grouper? No?
I don't have a 50-foot boat to go to the middle ground.
Not going to go hit 100 miles.
Damn it, Benny.
Yeah, blame Vinny for that one.
So Louie's not fishing grouper. So That's always a battle in the grouper in any tournament here. I feel like you have two
There's some big dogs playing in it.
competitors, and
Yeah.
one's been,
They showed up some big grouper.
what was his fish to last? No, those 2 plantations ago was 40 or 60 pounds or something.
I think it was a 40-pounder. Yeah.
It was massive.
It was one of the biggest grouper, gag grouper I've ever seen in person.
Massive.
So the King of the Bay, Sean, can we put that one back up for one more second here? So the King of the Bay is November 19th is the tournament. Now this is a festival. It's a big festival.
Yes.
So
yeah, they have live bands also. They have a lot of different vendors. There's a whole lot going on, food and all.
Yep, lots of food trucks, lots of vendors. It's a lot of fun. They turned that whole Pete's Pier complex into just a giant festival.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they even had a shark ride last year. It's like riding a shark or something.
No, that was Zach after too many whiskeys.
Oh, that's what it was. I knew it looked like a show.
So that's a great tournament. And what I like about it is they keep it, kind of within the Tri-County area. So you have the Hernando Pasco line all the way up to the Levy-Dixie line.
Yeah.
So you can't go over to the other coast. You can't go up to Steinahachie.
Yeah, it keeps everybody within the same playing field, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely. So we're looking forward to that one. And our friends over at Pete's Pier are giving away 6 festival passes tonight, 6 drink passes, and then 1 King of the Bay hat.
Dang.
Yeah.
I don't even have a King of the Bay hat yet.
But wait, there's more. Next week, they're giving away an entry for this.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So
Yeah, that'd be nice.
get prepared. All right, so that's our tournament rundown. Billy, what have you been seeing on the airboats? We've had some real calm afternoons.
That's a very nice afternoons. Mornings have been a little breezy. Luckily, it's on that slow incoming tide coming from low to high, so there's not a whole lot to see there anyways. Playing in the afternoons, there's a decent amount of redfish, on that falling tide that are pushing away from the islands themselves. I do see a lot of sea trout out there playing on the yellow bottom. I wouldn't say a lot, but good numbers.
I forgot to mention that. That's what we're talking about tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, there's something
Trout.
about speckled sea trout.
And that has something to do with the King of the Bay tournament and the Ho 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 Fishing for Dough. So make sure y'all pay attention tonight.
That's
We're
it.
talking
Learn
sea
how to
trout.
target that fish.
Keep going.
So there's a decent amount of fish out there. Ran over quite a few tarpons, so there's half a dozen of those moving around, which is pretty cool to see.
There's 6 in Crystal
Yep,
River.
only 6. Yep,
Be
half a
careful.
dozen. Yeah, so good luck chasing them.
They almost knocked our boat over
They
yesterday.
did too. They got some big fish pushing through. But the fishing looks, I don't see a whole lot of fishermen out there, but the fish themselves are out there in good numbers. The redfish started to move in with the cold front a couple weeks ago, and now are pushing back out again, just like the trout did. But from what I've been seeing and hearing, fish have been pretty good, bite-wise.
Yeah,
Haven't seen a whole lot of snook, though.
yeah, you're
Visual-
right. The snook
Visually,
kinda,
I haven't seen a whole lot of snook.
gotta wonder where a lot of these fish went from that storm. It stirred things up here.
Changed up quite a bit.
I had a friend that lives down in Largo that actively fishes kingfish tournaments. And he called me last night, and he was saying about the King of the Beach, right? King of the Beach?
Yep.
$100,000.
$100,000 tournament. And he said, have you been seeing any kingfish? Where should we, it's like, King of the Bay?
What?
You're talking about, he's like, it's a kingfish division. I was like, I don't think so, man, And then he's like, no, King of the Beach. And I was like, oh, kingfish tournament. He's like, yeah. It's like, I don't know,
Not
we
here.
rarely see kingfish. Now, did you you caught a kingfish the other day, right?
Yeah, I caught a 25-pounder. And then there's a lot of people out here who probably don't want me to talk about it, but there's a great big one out there. I lost him the other day. A lot of people have the spot. So
That's pretty cool, though.
it's there's a lot of them out there right now. It's not in shallow at all. It's 25, 30 foot, but there's a lot of king mackerels around. It's
Pretty
pretty
cool
cool.
seeing
The
them
other
off the
day
coast.
I was riding, and you look over to your right and you see the albacore, and all of a sudden you see one the sky right out of the water.
I could have swore I saw one at the mouth of the St. Martin's River.
That was a sturgeon.
Yeah,
Sturgeon.
definitely a sturgeon. But yeah, so I mean,
That's pretty, yeah.
it mixed some things up. That storm, people are catching bonefish here.
Yeah,
They're
there's a
catching
couple of them caught.
bonefish in Steinahachie.
They're catching bonefish in North Carolina.
What?
Yeah.
Seriously?
That storm picked him up and traveled across the state.
Wow. What about houndfish? Lou, have you seen more houndfish lately?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I've seen more turtles lately. Good God.
Yeah. So that's what makes fishing fun.
You really never know what you're going to hook into.
Pretty exciting. But so from there, we're going to go to the catch of the week and see exactly what has been catching or been being caught on the Extreme Decalz Catch of the Week. So let's see what you guys posted this week.
That's a nice little mess of fish.
Captain Gene.
That's that football redfish. Yeah,
right
that's
there.
that football redfish everybody's looking for.
How many weights do you have that thing? Captain Gene. Those are little kingfish.
Yeah, got into some nice mackerel. That's a pretty red. Very nice, Jessica.
Very pretty red. It's a weird looking grouper.
Yeah, getting into some freshwater side.
Must be a golf course. Look at that perfect grass. Who's that? I can't tell. Is that the Masked Bandit? He just found that hat. That's Ken Claimer.
Yeah.
He said he was cleaning out his closet and he found that hat, another hat that he's been looking for.
That's awesome. I heard he did really good exploring on some new waters and actually produced some nice fish.
I am so proud of him for going outside of his comfort zone and checking some new stuff out. Captain Ken Craig.
Very nice mess of reds.
So yeah, I told you all the fish been moving around trying to...
Casey caught one of those too.
Really?
Yeah. What are they called?
Yellowtail snapper?
I think it's
something.
It's something wild.
Pretty darn cool though.
Looks like a squid.
That definitely was not at our reef.
There we go.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Memphis and Zach. They got second place redfish.
Yep. I think they got third.
Third place redfish.
Zach brothers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This was from a while
Teddy
ago, but it's
dreaming
one of
about
my
what
favorite. God, Teddy.
If you zoom in, you'll get the laugh.
Jacob's watching a rerun of Friday Night Fish Talk. There we go.
Look at that trout.
Our first place trout. Now, was that heaviest trout or bag trout?
Bag.
That was
biggest 5.
Bag trout. Vinny did all the work, and he let everyone know that night.
That's right.
Yep.
He looked at me. He hooked a great big one, and he looked at me and he said, "Do we have a net?" I said, "No. Let's look him in the boat." And I turned around and I turned back around, and he's still dangling this 21-inch trout over the side of the boat. So I got to screaming at him. Finally, put it in the boat, but it worked out.
Heard he did all the work and you kept all the money, Louie.
That's right. I did. I paid for the tournament. Sorry, Dad.
So congratulations, guys.
That is awesome.
That's what I'm saying. When these guys are talking about fishing, make sure you're paying attention.
Facts.
They live, breathe salt.
Yep, that is facts. Don't listen to me. I just drive boats, but I see fish.
You piss a lot of people off to see fish too. That's what I love about it. All right, guys. So we're gonna go do a quick commercial break, and when we come back, let's see. What are we doing? We're gonna go to Tackle Table Talk with Captain Louie over there.
Vagabond dreaming takes me through the night. Sipping whiskey by the river, living out of sight. 100 miles an hour in the fast lane. 100 miles an hour toward the light. Sun does come. 100 miles an hour in the fast lane. 100 miles an hour in the fast lane. 100 miles an hour till I'm done.
Hey guys, Captain Louie here with Tackle Table Talk presented by Nature Coast Financial Advisors. Like Gary and Billy were talking about trout tonight. Not something I do a whole lot of this time of year, but I did do it today, and I did catch a couple, so I can be successful and actually talk about it tonight. The biggest thing on the trout right now is you're going to want to be in anywhere from 3 to 4 feet of water. I wouldn't say that you would want to be super inside the mangroves, because the water jumped up from, it was at 68, 69 degrees. Now it's 75, 76, 78 in the afternoon. So those fish are going to be pushed off onto the flat, onto the hard bottom, onto the golden bottom that we all talk about all the time. The best way to fish them, as we've all said a million times, is either a white jerkbait. I think I've got one rigged up right here. Just a simple nose hook, a little, I think this is a 3-0, little 3-0 J hook, 20-pound leader, about maybe 2 feet of it. A twitch, pause method. You're going to want that thing to twitch, and then sink and hit the bottom. Once it hits the bottom, usually a lot of times that's when they're going to bite it. So we're ready for that little subtle bite right there at the fall. But keep twitching, let it fall. Keep twitching, let it fall. It's almost like a really slow retrieve. I've noticed that, if the water's about 75 to 78 degrees, you're going to want to move it a little bit faster. If it's cold, 67, 68, 69 degrees, you're going to want to move that thing about as slow as you can go. Almost drag it across the bottom. That's going to be your best bet.
How hard do you set the hook with one of those?
Well, if you ask, it depends on who you ask.
That's Billy.
I'd say that the hook set can be, you can give it a good hook set. But the big thing about a trout is you don't want to give them any slack. So if you set the hook real hard, you have to reel them real hard to come, right back to you. I mean, you can't set the hook and then, be real easy on them. No, you got to set the hook and keep them coming. You got to keep that rod bent over all the time. I think I say that all the time. Keep the rod bent over. Keep the rod bent over. Hold the pole. Keep the rod bent over. Reel. It's all the same thing. It all means the same thing. Sometimes you have to say it in 30 different languages to get people to understand that. But, it's all the same concept of keeping that line tight, keeping the fish coming towards you. If you ask Zach, he wants that fish to be literally skirting across the water right into the net. A lot of us, we have, when we trout fish, it's more of a mass kind of deal where we have, 3 or 4 people fishing at a time. A lot of times we can't get there with a net real quick. So you can flip that thing in the boat, but the biggest thing is that you have to keep the fish's momentum coming. If he's coming across the water, if he's surfing across the water, you want to keep that fish's momentum coming right into the boat. A lot of tournaments have been won like that, as we saw last week.
Right.
But the cool part about a trout is they're really versatile in what they want to eat. If that water is at a good temperature, if it's above 69, 70 degrees, you can really catch a trout on a lot of artificials. You can catch them on, like we talk about all the time, a DOA. You can catch them on these saltwater assassins that we've been trying out a whole lot. I know Billy and Gary went out and they tried this new Die Dapper white bait. It's kind of a big paddle tail, long, elongated bait. It's almost just like a jerk bait. Here you go, Rick, just for you. It's got a big tail on it, just like the same thing. You're going to want to twitch, pause that thing. It's going to hit the bottom. I'd imagine that you could fish this with a jig head, just like anything else, which kind of moves us into the next thing that a trout loves, and that's a popping cork. Let's see if I can get this thing on here correctly the first time. That's all right. So unless you're like Billy and you like to tie this thing upside down, you want to keep, if you can see this popping cork, it has a weighted beads to it on your cork wire itself. The weight goes on the bottom, so that
it still flips upside down.
Yeah, it still does. Yes, it flips all over the place. But the point of this is for it to sit straight up and down. You're gonna pop, let it pause. This thing, and we were talking about this before the show. Is I don't know how long to put this because we're not in the water. We don't know how deep it is to keep that right there. So let's say that this is the bottom, wherever you're fishing. This is about as deep as you're going to want that bait to go. You don't want this to really hit the bottom. You want to pop, and let that thing just barely be above the bottom, because that's where those fish are going to be hanging out anyways. You want it to go down, stop right there. That's when you're going to get your bite. Your cork's going to go down. that's another thing. You have to really set the hook and have your slack out of your line, which is the biggest thing for pop and cork fishing. It's really frustrating for somebody who doesn't do a whole lot of it, but it can also get you a ton of bites.
Do you think it's safe to say, Louie, that 9 out of 10 times a trout will bite on the fall?
Yes. I bet it's safe to say 9 out of 10 times a trout is going to bite on the fall. I mean, I can count, now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever had one eat while I'm really moving that bait. It's always at a pause or a fall.
Or when it just lands.
Yes. I mean, if you watch a topwater, a lot of times they'll pop at it, you know, and then you stop it, and that's when they eat the bait. So, I mean, I would say that a lot of times, you know, they're wanting something that's almost kind of dying. You know, obviously in the real world, they don't get that all the time. So when they do, that's when they pounce on that prey. But other than that, as far as trout goes, you know, I like to use some mirrodines if I only have 2 or 3 people in the boat. It kind of gives a little bit of noise, a little bit different presentation. I've seen where, you know, you can fish a white jerkbait, and then all of a sudden the guy next to you is throwing mirrodines, talk about Matt Kleckner, and he's waylaying them and you're not catching anything. So, I mean, if you see a red boat catching trout out of your cast, you know what he's throwing, for sure. Other than that, I think we're going to talk about, like, how to catch a trout over there.
Yeah.
So I'll leave all that for that over there.
As
far as tackle goes, it's a trout simple. Don't complicate it.
I say we break into the science a little bit on the couch, too.
Yeah.
Now, on the pop and cork, Louie, and you may have already talked about this, but about putting the piece of leader at the top.
It did not, no. So this is a common mistake for a lot of people, which I used to do it. I used to do it a whole lot, and I finally realized why. I had a couple pop and corks that were in my old tackle box that, you know, had a little bit of line above them, and I finally realized why. It's because that your braided line that goes straight to your pop and cork swivel before I realized this, would get wrapped around your swivel, and then your swivel would get all wrapped around, and then all of a sudden you would hook a trout and your line would break. You know, that is not what you want, obviously. So if you take a little piece, you know, you don't need a big piece at all. 6 inches is fine. If you want to put, you know, 6 inches of fluoro right there above the swivel.
Can someone tell Bree that, please?
Tie that to your braided line with a double uni, and you won't have that problem of, you know, the braid getting caught on your pop and cork wire and cutting you off. That's a small little thing that goes a long way. I see a lot of people who, you know, think they know what they're talking about, and they don't do that. So it obviously means they have no idea what they're talking about. If that makes sense.
Makes sense. I like it.
If they're there and they're biting, you'll catch them.
The fish are either there and hungry, they're not hungry, or not there. Time to move.
Do you ever add weight to the pop and cork like a weighted jig head? Yes, exactly. I probably didn't go into that, but some people like, you know, a non-weighted behind your jig head or behind your pop and cork so that it falls slowly. I like a little bit of a weight. You know, it gives a little bit of weight for your cast, for the slower fall. Kind of depends on where you're fishing. It also depends on, you know, how warm that water is, but I don't think she needs to know anything. She beats us all in tournaments all the time.
Seriously.
I don't know why I told you that. But no, I like to have a little bit of a weight behind it so it falls a little faster, get a better bite quicker. Seems like you get a better hook set if that bait is, you know, down at an angle, for sure.
I think it depends on temperature of water, too. I mean,
oh, yeah.
I mean, if it's hot, you want that bait going like
all
this.
All over the place, exactly.
But if it's cold, you know, work it slower.
Nice fluid motion. That's what you want in cold waters.
So, all right, guys. Well, that was a great Tackle Table Talk segment by our very own Captain Louie. And don't forget, guys, he just won a big trout tournament.
Yes, he did.
So it's guaranteed to work. Exactly.
Sure on a jig.
It is the rigs he's using.
All right. That being said, we're going to go over to the Ayinde Matthews State Farm casting couch.
There they are.
Hey, there we are.
us a while.
I had to go to the next room over.
Obviously, Captain Zachary is not here this evening, but he will be back. Man,
I need to wear some sunscreen.
It's the TV.
Oh, okay.
It's the TV. That's what I told myself, being a ginger, you got to use every excuse you can. So, this is the Ayinde Matthews State Farm casting couch. Now, Louie, let's dig in a little bit more to the science of trout fishing. You know, why they I feel like trout move more and further distances in quicker time than any other species out there.
That's for sure. I mean, I know, you know, we'll talk about it like we're in the spring. There are times where we're in the mud boat and we're catching trout every day for 60 days, you know, back in the creeks. And then all of a sudden it warms up 4 degrees and they're 9 miles offshore.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they don't stop on the reef. They don't stop in 3 foot of water. They're 8 feet of water, just like that. You know, I think a lot of that has to do with their spawning patterns. You know, if you talk about a speckled trout to somebody who catches speckled trout all the time, they spawn, some say 3 or 4 times a year. You know, you have your males and your females, and then you have, if you've ever noticed, there's times where you're catching a whole lot of small fish.
Yeah.
So those technically are usually your males, and there's usually 1 female there. So it's there's a lot of science between, you know, because they're in the drum family. I'm going to go on tangents here, but a trout is in the drum family. So a trout drums. So if a female drums, all those males are going to come to her. So let's say that's why you catch a whole lot of little trout all together in the same place. So they're all coming to a single female's drum.
There's some science for you right there.
I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
I think trout are one of the only fish that
Sounded good, man.
that you can get to feed, you know, if they're there.
Yes.
And you know, one thing that I've learned is, you know, especially, let's just say just a 1/4 ounce jig head and just a standard white bait or watermelon red or whatever it is, I'll work that bait 10 different ways on the way in the first 10 casts before I give up to that one little general area. You know, because the way it falls, the speed of the retrieve, you know, how many times you tap it, if you lock it in right away, you know, you're going to catch a lot more trout. And that's what we learned yesterday. Mm-hmm. You know, Bill, I don't know if you remember, but when I was saying about try working that jig head, you know, 1 pop at a time.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just
instead of 2 to 3 to 3 to 5, and then just 1.
Exactly.
One, and finally started hooking it.
Yep. See, science.
Hashtag science. You know, the safe return of trout.
Yep.
So, you know, one thing you really always want to do. Now, this trout we ended up keeping for dinner. Now, your mom wanted it.
Yeah,
she wanted some trout tacos.
Perfect.
But, you know, properly releasing a trout. So I think Sean's got a video where, you know, you want to wet your hands because they have a slime.
Yep.
And you do not want to let that slime wear off. Now, I'm not going to just let a trout float away. I'm not just going to throw it in the water. I'm going to watch it swim away. And so you really want to properly release those trout instead of manhandling them. You don't ever use a towel.
Yep.
You know, get over those fears of a little bit of slime. Yeah. But what are some other ways that we can do to protect trout?
Oh man, there's a lot. Just try. I mean, the biggest thing is, you know, we all love to eat trout and do all the, and you know, it's great and all, but you know, a trout. How do I put this in words? Its meat is the whole trout is edible. In other words, you don't need a whole lot to make a full meal. You know, 3 trout feeds a lot of people. Mm-hmm. We don't really need 5 apiece, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yes, we get paid a lot of money and a lot of people want a lot of fish, but at the end of the day, a lot of us ask people and say, hey, do you guys really need 10 trout today? Most of the time it's a no. You know, the biggest thing I can say is if they're a bunch of big trout, I would try to stay anywhere in that 16 to 17 inch range. Those are the ones that you're going to want to keep. those big 18, 19 inchers, there's a reason that you don't want to keep all the females out of a population. You keep all the girls, you don't have any babies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's a very simple equation.
Yep. That's why they changed regulations on grouper.
Yeah, that's why they change regulations on everything all the time.
Yep.
You know, if you're going to catch all these great big fish, yes, that's great. But the problem with catching all the great big ones is there's never going to be any small ones anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you know, and trout, I think, were one of the first species that they started taking, at least our area, they started taking away that captain's limit,
Yeah.
which I agree with.
Oh, for
It
sure.
should be diminished on any type of fish that you can keep. We're out there
with it.
almost every day. There's
Yeah.
our clients are going to take, let's be honest, our clients
sure.
are going to take that fish home anyway.
Yeah,
So,
and exactly, and that's the point. It just doesn't make any sense for us to keep anything more than we need. I mean, I'm not a huge conservationist. You've seen what
Yeah.
I like to do. I like to kill fish, but at the end of the day, I'd like to do this for 40 more years.
Yeah.
Ooh, 40 years.
and
But
then you're in Lindsay's kids.
yeah, sure. Mhm.
Did
Sorry,
Lindsay
Mom.
hear that?
Yeah, you could use a de-hooker on small trout. That's for sure, Leon.
You know, and on the
Coming from somebody who catches a lot of trout.
lots of trout. The de-hooker too. You know, if you don't if you're using jigs and that soft plastic's still on there, it's a pain in the butt to use that de-hooker. But a nice long pair of needle nose.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's a great.
Another
point, Leon.
thing that I was taught a long time ago by somebody who I don't really like anymore anyways, but if you mash the barb down on a trout, on a jig head, it's really going to help that trout out. Yeah, you might lose a few more, but if you're really getting them, you don't really need to worry about that. You know, take that barb, smash it down with your pliers, and the hook will come right out. Plus, if you're catching a whole lot of ladyfish, a lot of times that jig head or that will fly right out of a ladyfish's mouth. That's
Solid
cool.
point.
Let's circle back on something that you said at Tackle Table Talk, and you guys are going to increase your landing on trout by this method. Is when you hook a trout, if you think about it, the more that rod tip moves, the more slack you're giving. Just like you said,
Sure.
do not give that trout slack. Keep that rod tip a steady 11 o'clock degree and just reel. They are not stronger than you, I promise. They're not a grouper. They're not a tarpon. You don't have to dive and reel. Keep it steady. Keep it right there. Try not to move that rod tip and put all the movement
right.
in your wrist. So.
That's right. And reel in a circle and not a square. next time you go to reel a fish reel, you'll know what I'm talking about.
That's a good point.
A circle, not a square.
So to increase your all's chances of catching trout, you might not be in the wrong area. Just change your techniques on retrieving, slow it down, speed it up, figure out what works, and look for rock grass.
For sure. Rock grass, hard bottom.
Other words, sargassum.
Look for pelicans diving. You know, a lot of people don't think about that. If the pelicans are diving,
Osprey's
there's a lot of
another
bait
one.
there. Billy always talks about the ospreys. If the ospreys are flying around, a lot of times there's trout around. For the tournament, is it better to weigh the trout in alive? Does it make a difference, you think? So for the King of the Bay, so that's what he's talking. There's no other trout.
I think he's talking about any tournament.
tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lost cause. If that trout goes in the live well,
The problem with the trout is he's delicate. He's what?
he's a kayaker.
He's a kayaker.
Yeah.
So if you doesn't really have a lot. Well, so we're talking about putting it on a string, technically. If you're kayak fishing, a lot of times those trout aren't going to live more than 10 minutes on a string.
Even redfish.
Yeah, even redfish.
I don't think really any fish is going to swim away. Yeah, or it's not going to swim away very far.
Yeah, unless you take one of them bottles of G juice and just squirt it right down his mouth. That's going to be the good way to do it. But no, I would not think that a trout would weigh any more if you had him alive or dead. He's what he is.
Yep.
Don't think about it too much.
Well, Louie, I think we dug into it pretty good there.
Sure.
What do you think?
We didn't take 45 minutes like our counterpart.
Zach, spend more time in Daytona, man. All right. Alrighty, so that was the Ayinde Matthews State Farm casting couch. Guys, if you have any questions, we only have a little bit of time left. We're going to be giving away the cool stuff from the King of the Bay tournament. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If we don't answer them on screen, we'll come back through the comments and answer them later on. But I think that Secrets to trout. We answered that. How to wear it, drift. Yeah, we talked about that. All right, so I think it's time to ask the secret question.
Beautiful.
So we're going to make it up. It's my favorite part of the night. I talked to Sean about this. Bree hates when I just make up a question.
She's pissed.
Oh, she is so pissed. But we're going to do a trick question here.
Oh, that's right.
Yep, we're going to do a trick question. It's an easy one if you think about it.
Oh, it's not a
So-
trick question.
All right, let's talk about, we're going to do a scenario. All right, so the first 6 people to answer this correctly, you're going to have a chance to get added onto the Extreme Decalz Wheel of Fortune. And so we're going to do a scenario. 4 people on a boat.
4.
4, right? Let's see, 4 people on a boat.
4.
How many 19-inch trout can you keep?
That's a good one.
Right?
Yeah.
A little trickery right there.
4.
4 people on the boat.
On a boat.
How many
People.
19-inch trout can you keep?
19.
So
That was for you, Dad.
19 and the eighth, right there. 19.
19.
It hit the line. How many can you keep?
It touched the line.
Yeah, 4.
Got
Okay,
it.
Sean had a good point.
How about the captain?
4 clients plus 1 captain. So 5 people. But we already talked about the captain's not included in the limit.
Yeah.
So
Thanks, Sean.
it's a good one. All right, we're gonna go to a commercial break. Let's see if you guys can figure that one out. The first 6 people to answer
That's
correctly.
what he's saying when I did with the 1-4.
All right, we'll be right back.
Phillips Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Ocala has been serving North Central Florida since 1997. Family owned and operated, Phillips' knowledgeable sales staff will help you find the right vehicle for your needs. Join the Jeep Club, tow a boat in a new truck, or feel the power of Mopar performance. Come to Phillips Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Ocala and get your dream ride, or visit us online at phillipscjdr.com today.
Oh, hey, there we go.
Yeah, all right.
Now, hey, Sean, can we go over to the Wheel of Fortune? Because I want to show off some of these sweaters, too. All right, come on. Follow me. Come on.
You sounded very corny when you said that.
All right.
I don't know how well this is going to work.
Did everybody get them right? Oh, wow. That was quick.
So we have names. Sadly, you can't quite read them there.
So we do have 6 names. Now, before we get into that, we got some new swag in, thanks to our friends over there at Shipyard Dog. All kinds of new sweaters just for the sweater season, if it ever comes here.
One day.
And then we've got a bunch of different hats. We've got some grouper edition, some snook
There's
edition.
only a couple left. You say a lot.
Redfish edition.
They went quick.
There is some, this one's pretty sweet. This is for those fly guys. What is it called? A 3-panel? 5-panel. Okay,
Sure.
I see the different panels, yeah.
River runs through it.
Bunch of different stuff. Check out the store. We redesigned it a little bit. All right, now how the Extreme Decalz, the Hydro Deck Extreme Decalz Wheel of Fortune works is the first 6 people to answer that question correctly, which the answer was 1.
Correct.
1 trout.
1 trout.
Now-
Used to be 4.
Yep. Now, if we asked if it was an 18-inch trout, that's different. But as soon as it hits that 19, you can only keep 1 trout per vessel,
That is correct.
19 inches and over.
Yep.
Yep, 1
That
trout.
used to be 1 per person.
Now that's just for our region. It's different all over, so I'm not even sure what it's like up there. 4?
Really?
4 per person.
4 per person. Over 19?
Oh, not over 19.
Yeah.
Under,
So-
4 per person. Well, to the limit.
Okay.
To the,
You sound like us with our. We just catch fish.
Yeah, the Maddox. Yeah, so Justin Maddox from Tampa Bay Outfitters, he puts out an awesome bait.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great baits out there. I became a big fan of them. Florida boy, kid just came across him not too long ago. So check him out, Maddox. It's a soft bait, but it's got a lot of texture to it.
It's actually a nice girthy bait. It feels like you're holding a true creek chub.
Yeah.
Like one of the big ones.
It's pretty cool, and a bunch of different colors, and it's got a nice long shank to it. Great for grouper, snook, tarpon.
It's worth looking into. It's pretty sweet stuff.
It's pretty sweet. We just got some in stock. Check them out. And also check out that shop. Have you been there before?
I
Tampa Bay
worked there.
Outfitters?
Oh, there. No. I thought you'd been here.
No, Tampa Bay Outfitters.
Yeah, I haven't ever been there. No, I have not been there.
Dude, Sean and I walked into that place. That was my first time. Sean kept saying, all kinds of cool things about it.
Yeah.
I was like, well, let's go check it out. Went in there.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
One of these days, and that won't work for you.
All right, so let's go ahead and spin the reel. So Billy's got the first 6 people here.
Yep. We have a Ronald, we have a Steve, a Ken, Stacy, Mike, and an Adam.
Who do you think Mike D is? Do you think it's Mike Dieto?
I don't know.
All right. Stacy always wins. Stacy. All right, here we go. All right. A little wobble
I think you
there.
spun that the wrong
I think we need to
direction.
tighten that thing. Oh,
If you spin this way, it goes a little better. But we got a Pompano. A Pampano.
It's a permit.
Adam F. Adam F., congratulations. You just won 6 passes to the King of the Bay Festival, 6 drink tickets to the King of the Bay Festival, and a King of the Bay hat. You can pick that up at Pete's Pier. Just let them know that you won at Friday Night Fish Talk and give them your name. So I'm going to text Tyler as soon as we're done your name. Congratulations. Now, make sure you all tune in next week because then the King of the Bay is going to be giving away a free entry to that awesome tournament.
That's going to be something you're going to want to tune in for.
So guys, check out those tournaments, all the ones we talked about. If you're a kayak angler, the Ho Fishing for Dough is a no-brainer. Great cause and big money. $3,500 first place prize.
Gotta love that.
Gotta love it. And then, obviously the Fish for the Blue. That's a great cause, great prizes, and
absolutely
the actual weigh-in and the festival part of that's going to be right there in front of Jimmy's Seafood Cellar. Right? Yep. So that whole parking lot, the owner of that whole.
I want to see it full of people.
Me too. Yeah, let's get there. There's guns for raffle. There's crazy awesome prizes that we'll be announcing soon. So, thank you all for watching Friday Night Fish Talk, and we shall see you next week.
Next week it is. I don't know where it came from.
Tune in this Friday.
Tune in this Friday.
Because what? Damn.
I quit this place.